All right. So it looks like we've got Joe from Seaside, California. We've got Bob from Chicago. Thanks for coming in. Anybody else, as you come in, feel free to say a quick hello. Let me know where you're calling in from as we get going here. So now, as we get into the how-to portion of today's training, let me remind you, why you're here. So basically, you're in the right place if you are a time-starved business owner or entrepreneur who wants to market your business more, but you just don't know where to focus your time, where to focus your resources. Or you may be confident that your company can handle more leads, and now it's just a matter of getting more prospects to know about your product or service. And then finally, you want to be seen as the go-to authority in your industry, even, and this is key, even if you charge more than your competitors. Now, for those of you who aren't familiar with me, I am the founder of Right Way Solutions and the author of a few business books, including my most recent, which is called Escape the Expected: The Secret Psychology of Selling to Today's Skeptical Consumers. Over the last roughly 15 years or so, I've written lead generating marketing materials for it's about 120 industries and had my work featured in all types of publications. And if this stuff is the kind of thing that you want to see, you're welcome to go over to my website and view some of that stuff at rightwaysolutions.com. Now, I also do some speaking and often share this type of stuff in front of large audience. Now, here are a few things that you're going to learn while hanging out with me today. We're going to go over a simple shortcut that you can use to quickly position yourself as a trusted authority who delivers exactly what your best prospects desire. Now, the key here is your best prospects. We're going to also go into how to cut marketing's most costly expense while also increasing the number of times you get your message in front of your target audience. We'll go over which media offer the quickest and easiest opportunities for you to establish trust and credibility with new audiences. And then we're going to go into a very common and unfortunately very dangerous design mistake that could be causing prospects to flee your website. And we'll wrap up with, well, it's not necessarily wrapping up with, but one of the last things that we'll get into is how to use 4 super short emails to create a follow-up funnel that's designed to convert more leads into buyers. And the good thing here is that you can even automate this entire process. Okay, so with that stuff out of the way, here we go. If you don't market your business, you won't have one. Now, this is advice that you've probably heard more times than you care to remember. But the reality is you don't always have, like we said earlier, the time or the resources or nowhere to direct that attention for your marketing. And the other challenge is you may be confused about where to focus your attention. Now, even though you understand, and I'm sure you do, you understand that long-term implications of setting aside your marketing program, you may feel like it's your only option. And that's understandable. And of course, there's another big problem that also comes up, and there's no way around this one. If you're the person, or it's you or somebody else, and you're responsible for managing the budget, and you don't believe that there's money for marketing or that expense won't result in a positive return, then the reality is nothing's going to get done. Now, sure, budget is a valid concern, yet I would argue that it's given way too much attention because, and this is key, there are many effective marketing strategies. They require more effort than monetary investment. And again, that's kind of what we're going to get into today. You see, marketing's most costly expense, it's the effort that you put toward getting in front of targeted prospects. So you might do things like run advertisements. You might buy prospect lists for email or for snail mail. Maybe you join organizations or some networking groups or pay for placements in directories. Some companies, they like to hold different types of events, or maybe you just kind of go a little old school. I lost the connection there. Hopefully that we are back and you can hear me. Looks like still got viewers on. Sorry about that. Let me know if you could just in the chat section. Let me know that you can still hear me. And again, apologize. Looks like we lost our connection there for a second. Yes, things with webinars, you always got to prepare for the expected. There we go. Thanks, Joe. I appreciate it. Let me know that that I'm back on. So we'll get back into it. Like I was saying before, things that you might do, you might run advertisements, you buy these prospect lists, pay for placements in directories, and hire a telemarketing firm, that kind of stuff. But not only do these activities, do they require capital, but the problem is you're never guaranteed to get in front of anyone willing to take action on your offer. And the easiest way to get around this problem is that you want to bring targeted prospects to you instead of chasing after them. And that's what we're digging in today. So I want to share a personal and rather embarrassing story. So this is me. So this was back, I want to say probably 2003, 2004, actually probably closer to 2002, 2003. My wife and I had just moved to an area of Phoenix, just south of the downtown area. And it was a new development type area, a lot of new residential commercial stuff coming in. And at the time, I had been doing some writing on the side for the local newspaper. So I knew that there was going to be a ton of development coming in on this particular corner that I'm standing at. And as you can see from the picture, I mean, it's not immediately clear, but there's not a whole lot going on around here. But I knew a bunch of stuff was coming. So I decided I was going to adopt this street. You can see there's my business name, Right Way Solutions, right there, front and center. And so basically for a mile of the street, 32nd Street, again, just south of downtown Phoenix, I was going to have my company name there. And there was going to be all these other businesses coming in. And they were going to see my company name. I thought it was a great idea. It wasn't. Essentially what ended up happening is I was just picking up garbage, and I was recruiting people to pick up garbage on the street. And nobody really ever noticed, even after all these businesses came into that particular corner. Basically, I would walk 2 miles every few weeks picking up garbage, helping out the city, because I thought this was going to be great exposure for me. Now, the big thing that this did for me, obviously, was not a good idea. But what it did, it opened my eyes to several marketing myths that I want to share before we get into our first step. So myth number 1 is that your company name is important to prospects. Now, I bring this up because I can't tell you how many times I work with clients and I see a company name front and center as part of their marketing piece, website, advertisement, whatever it is. They take up so much more or so much room with just highlighting their company name. But the reality is your prospects could care less about your company name. They care what you can do for them. Now, classic example again with that picture. My company name, lots and lots of eyeballs there, lots of people seeing it, but it didn't matter because there was no way to contact me. There was no way to understand what I could do for them. It was just a company name. So that's marketing myth number 1. Number 2 is that eyeballs equal interest. And I bring this one up because so many times you hear about, especially ad execs, they will promote when you want to get ad space, how many people are going to see your ad. And that really doesn't matter. What matters is the number of your targeted prospects that are seeing that ad. In the case of my Adopt a Street there, I mean, literally thousands of people seeing my company name every single day, thousands of eyeballs, but it did matter because they aren't necessarily interested, but they are seeing it. So you have to get over that myth that just because somebody sees your marketing or they see your advertising, that's going to benefit you. It doesn't benefit you. So eyeballs do not equal interest. And then the final myth, you can always benefit from extra exposure. And I bring this one up because one of the big reasons that people come to me and they'll have an opportunity to get their name out there is they'll say, I can run this ad space and it's really cheap. It's really cheap to do it. So what should I say? Maybe it's just a neighborhood publication or something. And they say, it's going to cost me hardly nothing. So I need to run an ad because just so I can get my name out there and it's going to be just some extra exposure. Cheap is not a reason to market or advertise. You really, again, you want to focus on these targeted prospects, bringing in and attracting the targeted prospects. Again, eyeballs don't equal interest, and you're not always going to benefit from that extra exposure. So with these myths out of the way, it leads me into our first step of our plan for promoting your business when you don't have time for marketing. And step number 1 is this. You want to create a piece of signature content, and you want to make this content exceptional. Really, really good stuff. Now, we'll get into what to cover as a topic in just a minute. First, though, let's talk about format. Now, when I say signature content, you may think it has to be something like a book, and that can be helpful, but your signature content, it can be something like audio, it can be video, it can be text. For our purposes today, I'm just going to focus on text, and specifically what's typically referred to as a special report or a guide, something like this. This is a guide that my co-host and I use for our podcast, 3 Studies in Persuasion that will change how you market your business. And basically, it's a way to introduce ourselves to prospects for that podcast and give them information of value. Now, I'll give you a quick outline here. We'll go through a quick outline for writing your special report to make this thing effective, to attract the best prospects, the type of prospects that you want to work with. So our first step, the first part of your outline, what you want to do is you want to figure out what's the problem that your best prospects want to solve. And see how I underlined best. We're not talking about just any prospects. You want to think about the best prospects, the ones that bring you the greatest revenue, the ones that are the funnest to work with, the ones that are eager to implement the ideas that you suggest to them. Now, when I talk about problem, this brings up an issue, and that is problem versus prevention. You want to focus on the problem, not prevention of a problem. So let me give you an example here. I was recently working with an attorney, and he was having me look at an ad. He had written some ad copy, and for that ad copy, he was targeting business owners who received contracts from contractors. And what he wanted to do as part of this ad is he wanted to offer his services as somebody who could review those contracts that the business owner was receiving from contracts. The idea being, or contractors, the idea being that the courts view the language in a contract much different than the typical business owner. So by him looking at the contract, it could save trouble in the future. Now, that's an example of prevention. Now, let's switch that around and let's look at a problem. Another example, another attorney I was recently working with, he was creating a direct mail piece for people who were injured in an accident, and they're now out of the emergency room, and they've received the care from the hospital, but now the hospital has sent them a notice that said that they have filed a lien based on the amount that they owed the hospital for the care that they received. The hospital didn't submit those costs to the insurance. They decided to file this lien based on the amount that the hospital is looking to cover for the care of that injured person. So now this injured person has received this notice about a lien, and it's a problem. They need to take care of it. That's the difference. It's an actual problem that they're dealing with right now. It's not something that could happen in the future, which is prevention. What we're focusing on is a problem. So you don't want you to make that mistake and look at prevention. You want to look at the problem, because that's what people are looking to solve. And there's some urgency behind it as well. So that's the first part of your special report as we're going through this outline. The second thing is, what pain or added costs is this problem causing? So you want to get into details about this. So they have this problem. Because of this problem, they're dealing with XYZ. They're going to get additional bills. Whatever it is, you've got to figure out, what are these added issues that are coming as a result of the problem, because you have to agitate this problem, remind them of the importance of taking care of this problem in a prompt manner and to do it in a quick amount of time. So that's number 2, the second part of your special report. The third part, this is where you start delivering the helpful content. You want to offer a general solution. So give them some advice. What should they do? And that leads into number 4, is what are some specific action steps that they can take as a result of this problem? And when I'm working with clients, this is what I often tell them is, what advice can you share that will help someone see results by tonight? Because if you're giving them action items and they take those action items and they see a result, some kind of outcome that they're looking for, well, to get the ultimate outcome, you just help them along. You have now increased the probability of them coming to you to get the ultimate outcome because you've established yourself as somebody who can help them. So you want to be very helpful. You don't not necessarily hold things back. I mean, really, don't be afraid to give away some of your best tips, things that you would talk about in a consultation or a meeting with a prospect. Put it into this special report. Number 5, fifth part of our outline here is now after you have delivered some content, some information of value, you've told them some steps to take, now you provide proof of what you suggest works. Maybe if you can do it, it's case studies. If you have testimonials. So you just want to provide some kind of proof that walks your prospect through. A lot of times it's good here is some type of story. So something that a person, your prospect, a prospect in the past or a client in the past has dealt with a similar issue that your prospect is dealing with. And so now you kind of walk through a story and you tell them how taking the steps that you just suggested worked out for them. So again, we're just providing proof that what you suggest works. And then you want to end your special report with what's the next step, because your prospects aren't going to do anything unless you tell them what to do. If you leave it up to them, the confused mind does nothing. And so you have to be very clear on what step you want them to take next. Is it to call you for a consultation? And if you do a consultation, I strongly encourage you not to say consultation. Name your consultation something else. Everybody has consultations. You want to give your name to your consultation something else so it immediately helps establish you as somebody who's different, as what you're offering is something different than just a typical consultation. And even better, if you can explain what's going to happen as a result of that consultation. So if somebody calls you up and they come into your office, what can they expect? Because they're going to be nervous. They're going to be afraid that you might get a pitch. And so even better if in your special report, you can explain the exact scenario, how it's going to play out, so there's no confusion and they have a clear understanding what's going to happen if they take that next step. And of course, if they don't take the next step, you want to explain what's going to happen then as well. Okay, so now we figured out that we want to target a problem. So how do you figure out the specific problem? Now, this next step, if you're on the training that I did last week, it's going to sound familiar. And this is, I'm bringing it up again because it is so critical. So here's the question. What do you want to be known for in your business? Because the reality is we operate today in an economy where you have more competitors than you can count. I mean, if you think about it, how many people share your job title? For instance, we're at tax time right now. If you're a CPA or accountant, how many other people can make this same statement? Whether you're a lawyer, your banker, massage therapist, real estate agent, whatever it is, I mean, you're not the only one with this title, and this presents a really big problem when you're marketing. You see, if your message only focuses on what you do, your occupation or that product or service that you provide, instead of specific outcomes that you provide, then you're seen as no different than your competitors. But if you differentiate yourself and you demonstrate yourself as an authority on a specific outcome, you not only communicate credibility, you often inspire action. Now, I want you to think again of that question that I asked you a minute ago, because this is the key to your power position. When you're creating your special report or your guide or your video series, whatever it is. Again, what do you want to be known for in your business? The fact is, authority is granted to those who prove their capabilities. So you want to create content around that outcome that you want to be known for. Now, one of my favorite examples is my outsourced CFO client. And I use this example quite a bit because it's really a unique situation, because what he does is he uncovers these cash flow opportunities and it's very niche industry, environmental and energy companies. And so what we did when I first started working with them is we created this, what we call an executive awareness guide. And it was titled How to Uncover the Cash Flow Killers Crippling Your Company and Fix Them Before It's Too Late. Now, this is a really simple step, but it gives them an immediate advantage over other outsourced CFOs who all they do is they just rely on marketing their occupation. Now, of course, my client, he also delivers a lot of other outcomes. And so what we did is we're now proving his capabilities. We create and distribute other types of content, things like articles and blog posts, and we get interviewed on podcasts, and we create videos, everything around all the outcomes that he provides. In addition, we're also sharing ideas about these topics with the media. Now, you can take this same approach and you can grab your authority status. I mean, again, it's really simple. You don't just want to be a regular old real estate agent. You want to create content that proves you're the real estate agent who quickly sells these 7-figure homes on waterfront homes in some specific community. We used accountant earlier. You don't just want to be another accountant. You want to create content that proves you're the CPA who shows you how to add $20,000 or more to your life in 20 minutes or less. Now, in fact, this topic, how to add $20,000 or more to your life in 20 minutes or less, it seems a little hypey, but I received this exact guide earlier this week. I thought it was a great topic. I mean, this person wasn't just a CPA. He's now giving me information to uncover hidden assets that I didn't know I had or that I wasn't taking advantage of. So those are a couple of examples. And I hope you get the idea. Again, you're not limited to just one outcome. So you pick outcomes that bring you the most beneficial clients. And here's an example, my CFO client, another one. You can see here, fueling sustainable growth, guidance for improving cash flow, increasing profitability, reducing risk, and building a better business. So, I mean, really, the sky's the limit. Just figure out the problem that your best prospects are having and create the signature content around it. All right, so that brings us here into step number 2. And you want to focus your website on helping your best prospects and make it a resource that people want to visit often. Now, we're going to do a really, really simple exercise here. Now, the first person I saw do this was somebody by the name of Ann Convery. And if you're not familiar with Ann, I encourage you to seek her stuff out. Her website is speakyourbusiness.com, speakyourbusiness.com. And then we spoke at the same event last year in Las Vegas, and she's incredible at coming up with powerful strategic messages for attracting your best clients. And she delivers some really, really strong stuff. So for this exercise, I'm going to show you several examples of websites. And the instant you see each one, I want you to say whether the message is focused on the business or the website's visitors. So, I mean, it's pretty easy enough. In fact, if you want, you can even put your answer in the comments. Again, all we're doing here is when you see these websites, you want to think about, is it designed to talk about the prospect or talk about the company? And keep in mind, these are just home pages. So here we go. Oh, sorry. Again, if the website is designed to talk to the prospect or talk about the company. So here we go. Here's the first one. Is this designed to talk about the prospect, talk to the prospect, or talk all about the company? Just on first look, what do you think? And I'll tell you, first look, I'm going to say this one is focused on the company, talking all about the company. It's ignoring the prospect. Second one, again, talking to the prospect or talking about the company. Again, we're just looking at home pages here. And you can see, again, strongly focused on just talking about the company. Here's another one, slightly different one. Now, I would argue this one here is focused more on the prospect. Build your authority with powerfully effective content marketing. Get superior content marketing education so you can build a remarkable online presence. There's no overwhelming information just about the company. It's all focused on the prospect. Same thing here. Look closely at the text. There isn't pictures of, a large building or whatever it is, an office building or a bunch of employees. Focus on the text. Again, be good with your money so you can be expressive with your space. Again, focused on the prospect. You immediately know it's focused on you. How about this one? This one, you look at this one, I mean, it's pretty clear. This is not focused on the prospect. This is a homepage. It's only focused on the company. So subconsciously, you look at this and you're like, man, this really doesn't relate to me. Now, the concept here, it's really, really simple. You must immediately demonstrate your message is of value to your prospects, because your website is the primary place where you want to offer your signature content that we discussed in step 1. Now, you can either make it available on your homepage, or you can use a separate landing page, an opt-in box, welcome mat, whatever it is. Whatever option you choose, the key here is that you offer that signature content in exchange for an email address. That way you have a way to continue communicating with prospects. In addition, you know exactly what those prospects are interested in. And we'll get into what to say in your emails in the next step. But for now, I just want you to focus on your website content and who the message is focused on. Again, if we go back up, we'll go back up and look at some of this text. I mean, you can see nothing here focused on a prospect. Just look at the text. There's nothing talking directly to the prospect. It's talking all about the company. And again, subconsciously, prospects are tuning this out. This one, though, focused on, again, look at the text. Look at lots of yous and yours. Be good with your money so you can be expressive with your space, talking directly to the prospect. Same thing here. This one, all we're doing is we're talking about the company. It's a sailboat. What does this have to do with the prospect? Even look at the header there. Fee only, CFP, fiduciary, financial advisor, investment management, and financial planning, Scottsdale and Phoenix. What does that do? That offers a prospect no benefit. So you kind of get the idea here that you really, as soon as somebody comes to your website or any marketing piece, you want them to know it is for them. All right, so we're going to do another exercise, and I want you to, along the same point, is draw a line down the middle of a piece of paper, something like this. And on the left side, just write the words "we are" in your company name, and on the right side, put the words "you," "your," and then "your," U''re. And what you then do is you look at your website homepage, or just pick any one of your recent marketing pieces and read through the content sentence by sentence, and place a mark in that left column each time you see the words "you" or "your," or sorry, in the right column each time you see the words "you" or "your," and in the left columns if it's "we are" or your company name. And you'll notice that you will often see a significant difference between the marks in both columns. And in the cases, you'll have many more uses of the words "we are" and company name in that left column than you do "you" and "your." In fact, you often see that "we" and "are" or your company name are often at the start of many sentences. And if the marks in that left column outnumber those in the right columns, then you have a problem. Your prospects are likely ignoring your marketing message, often without realizing, because, again, this action occurs on a subconscious level. You see, your prospects, they're only concerned about themselves. And when your content is filled with repeated use of the words "we" or "are" or your company name, you make your marketing message all about you. And that's like being that guy at the party, someone like this, who all he does is just talk about himself. He laughs at his own jokes, and he always has a story that tops whatever anybody else is going to say. I mean, we've all met this type of person. So the easiest way that you want to incorporate your prospects into your marketing message is to create content that reads more like a conversation and less like a corporate essay, like some of those websites that we just went through. You want to use words like "you" and "your," and you want to, because when you do, it tells prospects that your content is written specifically for them. And here's the key. You want to honor your prospects' time by presenting information on your website or any marketing piece as if they were already your clients or customers, and ignore your desires. Forget about selling, disregard your competitors and what they're doing, snub that internal voice, that screams you're giving away too much. If you take this exercise seriously, I can promise you that your marketing will start grabbing more eyeballs and it will gain greater interest. Okay, so that is step 2. We'll go into step 3, and I know we're going quick, so if you have questions, just be ready. We'll go into a Q&A at the end. So step 3, I mentioned a little bit earlier. Now, with that signature content, we want to write a simple 4-part email series, and this is where we're going to start asking for action. So you've got your website that's aligned with the needs of your prospects, and with this email series that's going to be added on, now we're going to start delivering more information. So I'll walk you through a really simple 4-part email series that you can use. So when somebody downloads your signature content, now you're continuing the communication. Now, you have to understand that you will need some type of email software, something like an Aweber, GetResponse, MailChimp, Infusionsoft, whatever it is, because you're going to set up these emails as an autoresponder. That way, they run without you having to worry about them after somebody requests your signature content. And what you're simply going to do is you set up these emails, and then you just have to handle responses as they come in. So this marketing automation, it's critical. It's really critical. Right now, I'm working with an 8-figure-a-year company, and they have zero marketing automation in place. And it doesn't take a genius to see how much money they're leaving on the table right now because the staff they're getting spread so thin, not to mention they don't have any consistent follow-up. And so it's often forgotten. By just using these 4 emails that we're going through, you can have an automated funnel, an automated marketing follow-up funnel. Easy for you to say, lots of F's there. And you can have this thing in place in, really in a matter of minutes. So let's get into what to say in your emails. So first one, you're going to have this day one. Somebody requests your signature content. You need an email that's going to deliver your signature content. You have a subject line. That subject line, just put your special report title. This is key because, and you want to make sure that your special report has a very appealing title that, again, promises value. And you just start off your email and, hi, Bob, here's access to the special report you requested with a colon, insert a link so they can download that signature content. They can get it immediately. Again, that's key with the autoresponder. They're going to get it immediately. You then, part of this email, tease a few items that you want your readers to pay special attention to. Remember we talked about, we wanted to give them some action steps within the special report. You want to tease those things so it gives them a reason to immediately go through the material, because if they wait to go through it, we now have reduced the likelihood of them actually going through it. They're going to put it off. And then, really simple, you just end your email with something to the effect of, after you read through everything, feel free to hit reply and let me know any questions you want answered about your situation. Now, that's a very general ending. I mean, you can make it more specific to your business and to your special report, but this just gives you a general overview of what you want to include in that day one email. Okay, so day two, we're going to send another email. We're going to follow up on that special report delivery. A subject line, did you see this? Now we're going to pique curiosity. And you start off with, hey, Bob, yesterday you requested and then you insert your special report title. And I'm just following up to see if you had a chance to read or watch it if it was videos. And then more importantly, I want to make sure that you saw and you enter these specific items that you want to draw attention to inside that special report. Because then as you're stressing this, it's going to make it seem more important to your prospects, which it is. And if necessary, you may want to share a bit more educational content on that topic. Deliver more value. You can never go left out of your special report. So you want to keep something close to you that you didn't mention in the special report. And this is a way now we're delivering more value. We're using these emails to deliver more value. Again, you may need to link to another piece of educational content, and then you just simply remind readers what to do next. So we've got these 3 emails, all designed to deliver more value. 2 of them telling them exactly what the next step is, so they start getting an idea of what they should do next. Now you could stop there, and you can just continue to follow up with additional educational information. If you're on my list, you see I do that, where I put in a lot of, just giving out a lot of tips and strategies to help people with their marketing. And you can, again, keep delivering that kind of stuff. Or if you want to shorten the time frame, because I know a lot of clients that I work with, they tell me that their prospects have to make decisions pretty quick. So we'll skip a few days and let's just go to day 7. Day 7, I have to give credit where credit is due. This is a email strategy from Dean Jackson, who is co-host of the I Love Marketing podcast. And it's basically where you're asking if they're still interested. Really simple email. Subject line, you put the prospect's first name. Nobody can ignore their first name. And then one sentence, are you still? And then you enter the outcome that your prospects desire. So I'll give you an example. One I've used with a client who is selling franchise opportunities. Are you still interested, are you still looking for a franchise opportunity, whether through, and it was her company or another company? The idea being, we asked a question that was open-ended that made it seem that she had, and she did, had franchise opportunities available for the people on her list. Now, the key here is you don't want to ask a question related to your occupation, that just mentioned your occupation. So, for example, if you are a realtor, are you still looking for a realtor to sell your house? That's just, it's yes or no. It's too basic. It's too obvious that you're just looking to get hired. You want to focus on that outcome. What is that outcome that they're looking for? Okay, so we've now gone through step 3. We'll go into our final step, and that is step 4. You have your signature content. You have your website focused on your prospects. You have your 4 emails now set up. Now we've got to drive traffic to your signature content. And in previous trainings, I've mentioned Facebook as a helpful tool for driving traffic, and I'm doing the same here because Facebook is so affordable and it's so easy to target audiences that match your ideal prospects. In addition, you can start getting traffic in front of your content in just a matter of minutes. In fact, for some of you, this may have been the way that you found me for this webinar. Now, you have a couple of options. If you use a landing page to deliver your signature content, you can direct your Facebook ads. You can use Facebook ads right to that page. However, I'm also going to suggest that you test delivering content prior to delivering your special report or your guide or whatever it is, your video series. That way you can prove the value that you deliver first. And this is especially important if people aren't familiar with you. Now, this stuff is not tough. I mean, you don't need to hire a Facebook ad consultant or some guru to get you started. I mean, one of the easiest places that you can begin is just with promoted posts. And here's an example of one that I've done. And basically, you just make a status update on your business page, and you can't do this with a personal page. You have to have a business page, and you link to a piece of content. And once that post is up, just click the button at the bottom of your post that looks like this. And you can then pick an audience that you want to target. You can target your audience by selecting people who like your page, people who like your page and their friends, or you can even curate your own target audience by selecting people you choose through targeting. And if you choose people through targeting, you can reach entirely new audiences. Another option is that you can consider doing lookalike audiences. And when this happens, Facebook, they just take a list of your emails and you provide these emails to them, and they might be your prospects, they could be past customers, and they will create an audience based on those people's characteristics. So just like it sounds, it's a lookalike audience. So now you can target people who are similar to your current clients or prospects. I mean, that's a pretty good deal. Now, in the case of the example I showed you earlier, I reached 8,000, if we brought it up again, 8,398 people. And if we go into the stats, let's see, we'll go back there so you can see 8,398 people. So now we'll go into the stats. You can see there were 56 actions on this post, meaning 56 people liked the post, they clicked the link, or they commented on it. And as you might have noticed, the paid reach in the stats is much lower because my post was shared with other people. So I reached more than 6,000 people that I didn't have to pay for. And I'll say that again, I reached 6,000 people, more people that I didn't have to pay for. And this is simply because people liked the content and it showed up in their news feed so other people could see it, or they saw the content as valuable enough that they were willing to share it with other people on Facebook. So the key to remember here is you must craft compelling, helpful content. Don't worry about pitching your products or service. Just deliver value first. Now, as you can see, for what I did pay for on this post, if we go back up there, it was just 26 bucks. And now this was over several days. Now, once people clicked the link in their Facebook ad, they went to in this case, it was about a 1,600 word blog post. And with that post, they saw my opt-in offer for my signature content. It looked, just like this. So in this case, it was my most recent book. Now, of course, this approach, it's just the same if your signature content is a special report or a video series or course or whatever it is. In your post, you just find natural opportunities to link to your offer. And you can even include some kind of a pop-up window after a certain period of time, or you can have an opt-in box on the actual page with your content. Keep in mind, what we're doing here, and you can see this is that Eco CFO client. This is, was a pop-up, again, offering his book. Now, what we're doing here is we're just doing it for one piece of content. You could do this for multiple pieces of content. All you're doing is you're driving to your signature content. So you create multiple pieces of signature content. Now, the beauty here is whether you're doing promoted posts or you're trying or testing Facebook ads, is you pick your budget and you pick your time frame. So you can spend as much as you want or as little as you want. Now, of course, I suggest you start small and you test different posts. That way you find out what content is going to work best to convert your traffic. And many times for promoted posts, I start with just like $7. Or for traditional ads, I'll do $10 to $20 a day. Again, this isn't complicated stuff. You don't have to spend a whole lot of money. You just have to focus on creating great content. And if you're doing promoted posts, you just push the boost post button and you follow the simple instructions, and you'll get people going to your website and in front of your offer for your signature content. So if you want, and you want to go that more traditional route with your Facebook ads, you just click on the ads manager on the left side of your Facebook page. But I will give you a word of warning. You're going to need to As you see here, test several ads to see what's going to work best. Don't expect the first ad you run to convert and then instantly bring you a wave of new leads. That's unrealistic. I mean, testing, it's absolutely critical. It requires time. It requires discipline. It requires you to be committed to trying different ideas. So don't overlook this critical component to your campaign. Okay, so now we've wrapped up what I believe is one of the most straightforward, incredibly, I mean, this is pretty effective stuff. And it's an easy method for promoting your business when you don't have time for marketing, because as you can see, you just kind of set this thing up and it can start running. And there's nothing for you to do. You just have to answer inquiries from prospects, hopefully responding then to your emails that you're sending out. The extra benefit is that you're also continuously building an email list of potential prospects that you can now communicate with them whenever you want. And you don't have to pay to keep getting in front of new audience. And you remember what I said at the beginning is that marketing's most costly expense is the effort put toward getting in front of new targeted prospects. And we just took a huge leap towards solving this problem. Now, keep in mind too, that using Facebook ads, it's just one way to get people in front of your signature content. I mean, you can also offer your signature content in things like, print ads, your signature line in your emails. Maybe it's part of a direct mail strategy on other social media channels and video campaigns. There are tons of other places that you can put that signature content. You can offer it out there. The advantage, and this is a big advantage of creating helpful educational content, is you can just repurpose it over and over again and in multiple marketing channels. So, all right, we just about reached the end, and I have one more step. We're going a little over on time here. One more action step, and I tell you, it's a real easy one. Now, listen, you stay with me this entire time. You have this plan now for promoting your business when you don't have time for marketing, and you understand what steps that you need to take and implement what we covered. You've got your signature content. You have your prospect-focused website. You have your 4-part email campaign, your Facebook traffic. Now, I understand that putting all this together might seem a little scary. After all, this is likely, it's probably a bit different than what you're used to, but I promise you can do it. I just showed you one way to solve your inability to market as much as you want. And of course, you have several other options too. And I can help you put this plan that you just saw into action so you can quickly have a process in place to attract a new flow of leads. And if you're feeling overwhelmed, then as attendee in this training, of course, you're welcome to schedule a strategy session with me. It's free, and I'll show you how to reserve a spot in just a minute. Now, keep in mind, if you want to do one of these strategy sessions, there are a few qualifications that you have to meet. Number one, you must be committed to being a player in the marketing game. You're not an observer. See, my schedule, just like yours, it's tight. So I only spend time with people who are really serious about improving their business marketing. Number two, you have to have genuine expertise in your product or service, and you have to operate at a high level of integrity. I'm not into doing things like bait and switch tactics, dishonest marketing practices, or distributing, crappy content that's just designed to trick people. I mean, that's not my style. We're looking to help people here. And number three, you must be willing to provide real value in your marketing and share information that truly helps people. Again, we're not looking to trick just to get somebody in so that we can switch them, get them on a phone call, and then give some aggressive, pitch to try to close them. So if you meet these qualifications, then I'm happy to hop on a call with you. And, at some point during the next week, we can get together and we can discuss how you can apply this process that we went through today in your business. I mean, with a call like this, my goal for you is just to give you complete clarity, about what your business could look like moving forward. And if I feel that I can help you, I may invite you to be a client. Keep in mind, if we do decide that we're going to work together, I'm going to hold you to the same standards as, my top performing clients. I mean, so you're going to be expected to show up and you've got to be ready to execute. Again, the cost for this 30-minute strategy session with me, it's free. Spaces are limited, of course, because we're just filling into my calendar. And as you can see, here's a link here. If you want to just go to this link, you can fill in a spot. Here, I'm going to put it up. I'll put an offer up in here as well. Let's see. You can just click a button. Hopefully it'll come up. Sometimes these things are a pain in the butt. Yeah, of course, it's not going to come up. But again, just go to that link there. And again, I appreciate you sharing your time with me today. And of course, reach out to me with any challenges you're having. I'd love to connect with you. And that wraps it up. So we'll just move into some Q&A. If you've got questions specific to this, specific to marketing your to your business, I'll stick around here and answer whatever I can.